Hey YouTube, how you doing? Alright, yeah, there's a camera. Well, I was talking with a friend of mine, and he said, listen, we kind of get it. There are certain topics that you don't need to discuss because you have very strong feelings about them, and that's alright. Nobody has to agree with you. But your channel is kind of a archive of sorts. And some people look at what I have as something, I guess, valuable. So today, I followed their advice after numerous consults with them and their wife, who is a media and marketing manager for a local company here in San Antonio. And I'm going to be doing a small program of sorts just throughout the month of July. I'll wrap up on this. But I'm going to be going through the book, The City of Brass, for Swords and Wizardry. And the reason why I'm going to go through the Swords and Wizardry version is that I did not buy the 5th edition version. In fact, I don't like the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons. I really can't say much more than that. But I love the culture around tabletop role-playing. And I love the capacity to gather people around and have a great time. So, without further ado, let's just go through a couple of the... Alright. Yeah, I don't clean my apartment throughout the week because I'm busy. When you work 70 hours a week, that happens. Alright. So anyway, this guy here, he wrote the majority of this, if not the entire thing, way back in the day. That's the City of Brass for 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons. If you were a RPG book buyer in the early 2000s, that right there. Gary Gygax even had wood for those guys. He had tremendous mahogany for that. That's the original box set. Here's City of Brass for Swords and Wizardry version. Now, your alright. A lot of people do know Bill Webb. He's a great guy. That's Bill Webb. He's a great guy. He's given people the opportunity to create careers, and he's opened up opportunities for a lot of other people in the book and tabletop role-playing world. Matt J. Finch, this guy, has a YouTube channel. I will link in my comments or description, whatever I do here. I gotta link you to this guy's stuff. If you don't know who this guy is, he's probably one of the best GMs out there. You want to talk about consistency? You want to talk about somebody who can make a player feel like they're living in the moment? That's the guy. I don't know Zach too well, and I missed North RPG convention in Texas, but he, from what I understand and what I've talked to him a little bit in the chat rooms, very solid man, very reliable. Charles Wright, this guy here, a while back, he had some health issues, as is going to happen with everybody at some point. But we made one of the coolest things to hit the RP world. And if you can find the PDF or the solid print product of this here, Chuck's Dragons, you're going to have a few nights of fantastic high adventure. Okay. Mr. Wampler. He's kind of a very necessary individual around there. I guess he's I don't know this individual, but I just wanted to zoom in. We're going through the Frog God games. Is Mr. Wampler? Never talked to the guy. I can only assume he's another solid addition to the team for the former Necromancer games and current Frog God games. That is the seal of quality for tabletop RPG products. Do not go to WotC. If you love Thaco, if you love Monster 2-hit Matrixes, go to that. You're going to get a better product. It's going to be, maybe the product isn't going to have all the chrome bits that WotC could put on it, but I'm going to tell you that you're going to have a much better feel for your table. And your players that are playing the game will thank you for it. Swords and Wizardry, guys. Old school D&D, first edition, 0 edition. Alright, here's your table of contents. We're going to do just a couple chapters tonight. We're going to talk about this, and then we'll put it up. We can do multiple videos detailing this book, and why you as a tabletop gamer should have this book. Cult of the Burning One. Look at that. Look at that right there. Alright. So anyway, chapter 1 starts off, and we'll just zoom in on the paragraph right here. All the greatest quests begin with something small. Those of us fortunate enough to have been around in the venerable old school age of RPGs cut our teeth on the T series. While reading the A series, we were blown away when they were tied to the G series, leading to the D series, that finally led our characters from their humble beginnings of extra-dimensional travel, or to extra-dimensional travel from a cosmic challenge against the arachnid face of ultimate evil in the module Q. Alright. There was a reverend that I used to play with in the Washington, Illinois area named Mike, and his last name eludes me. Get used to that one, kids. Mike was a hell of a player, and he was a great DM, but he said the one thing that I triumphed whenever I ran Pathfinder at the store was I made RPG games epic. I made them big. I would put tables together, I would put a couple battle mats on there, and I would just go to detail. I'd detail a map for 10 minutes, trying to get the roof right, trying to get the stairs correct. And then I just start rating on my miniatures, and I start doing the best I could to pull out miniatures that would scare the shit out of my players. And I think that whenever you play your game, you don't need to go into super ultimate detail on your mapping or miniature work, but I do think you need to make your players feel like there is a cost involved with this. There is a definite stakes on the line here. And give them that. Give them that in spades. Don't make them feel like we're just fighting a random encounter with a few orcs. Don't go the low route. Invest in your players. Okay? Give them some what for. Alright. So, with that first paragraph, that lets you know that your players are going to be in great hands. And in developing the new release of City of Brass, they thought, why not give an opportunity for even greater adventures to unfold? Revisiting the fantastic setting, we take the opportunity to tell a greater story and to involve lower level characters in a world of extra-dimensional travel. We thought it best to offer the players a chance to be part of the big picture and to save their world in a more streamlined and defined fashion. They could, of course, not do it. That's their right. So what City of Brass does from the get-go is that it offers to start your game when your players are first level and you can start their adventure big. That sounds kind of crazy. You give them a courtside ticket seat to one of the best adventures that's been written for any table in the RP realm since, I'd say, probably, well, Shellac's Night Below. Because Night Below fell apart in Book 3. And I love Night Below. But I would say probably since, the GDQ. And I say that not because I'm an old fart or a grognard, but I say that because if I was a player and you said, hey, Bruce, we're going to play Arabian Nights. Oh, cool. What level are we starting? Level 1. Here's your PH. Yeah. It's like that. So anyway, the City of Brass goes into a little bit more, and it talks about how this is a city just laden with magnificence and splendor. You have mystery, you have timelessness, and you got to look at this kind of like in the same aspect that anybody that is familiar with the poem Kubla Khan, the heroin-addled author wrote a poem about a mythical city. And if you're familiar with this, just kind of meditate on it for a moment and just think of exactly the mindset of an author as he's trying to impart all of these majestic and perilous vistas as he's going about his travels through this urban splendor. And that would be kind of like City of Brass, but a little bit hotter. A lot hotter. So, the reason why you want to play in the City of Brass is mainly, why the hell not? The City of Brass is located on the elemental plane of fire. And basically, you can use this. This book can be for you, and you can discuss this as a campaign that's going to take your players along a high magic level super adventure path that would rival Slumbering Czar Saga. Wow. Yeah, I guess Czar is about the closest I have to GDQ in terms of quality. Those two are probably the best. And I've never ran GDQ 3 times. I love you, Czar. Okay, so it seeks to capture a sense of immediacy, wonder, and excitement. And you should be able to build upon your player's excitement. And you should be able to ad-lib and conjoin events and various NPCs and various locations together. The one thing that we as tabletop gamers have failed since 1975, I'll say, is that we buy a product, maybe an adventure, and without reading it, we immediately crack the thing open and we tell our players, let's go! And we start going through it, trying to figure it out as we can. Don't disappoint your players like that. I'm going to tell you to read this book 3 times. I read it once. And this book is a delight to read. In fact, I wish I was 15 reading this book and writing up various small events, small adventures for my players to enjoy. Because there's a lot to do with this book. You will want to buy a spiral for this book. So I should actually say, get all old school, go with a spiral, college ruled notebook, and start getting some ideas for what you're going to do at the table. Like, it's okay, you can have it blank right now. Alright, well, we go into a little bit how you can use this book, and one thing is that, like, they say you could use it to explore around, and you can go all about the Sea of Bale before landing at the port of Caridius, at the edge of the small kingdom of Numeta, the Malakaib Desert, and you tie it to the Dunes of Desolation adventures, and there's some other things that are available out there. But Dunes of Desolation is a fantastic book. It is primarily like a not a lead-in or primer, but it's an environmental book, kind of like Sandstorm was for 3.5. And Sandstorm is probably one of the best 3.5 books out there, even though it's not really tied to a setting per se. It really goes into a lot of detail on what you can do to breathe life into a desert campaign, even if just for a few adventures. Here's your meat of this book right here. And this paragraph, these two paragraphs here are fantastic because it says establishing a start to finish campaign. And you start with book 1, Cult of the Burning Ones, and you go into the areas and the events of books 2 and 3 of City of Brass, and you go all around various locales your players will want to take you. If they've never played in the Lost Lands before, don't spoil it. Let them do this book first. Let them enjoy this book. Okay. Now, just because it says start to finish, and the second paragraph goes into this, but it doesn't need to be a railroady campaign. My Tsar campaign that I'm currently running for the 3rd time, we are hitting our 3rd year of play next month. The Tsar campaign is not going to be in Tsar for a few adventures, because the players have been having to deal with Belishan and some other issues going on with the campaign. And mainly, Belishan is just one of my favorite game villains ever. He's just a badass, and he's got a lot of resources, and I've tied him to the city of Gargantium. I believe that's how you pronounce it, but it's the old seat. It's in ruins now, but of the Fordwaith Empire, and it's the ruined city of such. But the player's going to go and investigate Gargantium and try to find what exactly is Belishan got going on over there. And maybe they can put a stop to him and what he's doing here for the city of Tsar. I know that sounds really crazy, but we go the long way around for things. Alright. I don't think I'm going to get the first chapter done with this video, but get lost in side quests. Okay, I think we've all played Skyrim or Oblivion by now. And maybe 7% of everybody has beat both those games start to finish and done some side quests, maybe all. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people will have a lot of fun with the game. They pay full price for it. They buy all the DLC. And then they start getting just lost in side quests. They just go everywhere. And you ask them, do you ever beat it? No, but my character's doing this, and I love it. I don't think that was the designer's intent. But as long as you paid for it, they don't really give a shit. And I think the same thing is applicable here. We can have a campaign that as a DM, don't resist the urge. You want to thoroughly resist the urge to write the campaign back on the railroad tracks should the players start having fun and enjoying themselves. Don't spoil their fun. Give them challenges, of course. But if they're happy and content just ferrying spices and spell components throughout the plane of fire, you don't got to do nothing except continue to let them do what they're doing and throw them the occasional curveball or slider. You've just got to run your game, and you need to let your players have the freedom to choose where they go next. Now, you can always say it would probably be optimal if you do this item, and you give them the choice from the book that's recommended, of course. But if your players are having fun talking to all the little NPCs like it's some 16-bit action role-playing game on a Super NES, let them talk to all the NPCs. Let them spend 12 hours doing that. You are not beholden to forcing them and stuffing them with experience points. We're playing Swords and Wizardry now. This is the Bill Webb style of Dungeons and Dragons, where your players might earn 30 XP at the end of a 6-hour adventure. Oh yeah, 1200 to level 2. Have fun, thief. The thing is that these guys, let them have fun. Let them smell the flowers. And let them know when they do great, they can be rewarded well. But you're still playing a game with intentionally slow experience. And do keep that in mind. Because this is a Swords and Wizardry version. This is not 5th edition. You do not need to awe the thunder. And make sure they have the recommended magic items before going to the next chapter. This isn't that hot garbage, okay? Let your players invent. And let necessity be the mother of their invention as they go from problem to problem. They need that, and you as a DM deserve to have that to happen, because there will be some amazing game stories to come out of that table for the next years to come. All right, back to this book. All right, from something small to something big, as an ongoing campaign, as a break from the normal campaign. Those three are very self-explanatory. Focus on the last one, a break from the normal campaign. Because a lot of people will do European or Western Europe style campaigns. A minority of people will run Oriental adventure style stuff. And maybe some brave soul will be like, I want it all. But you don't have to do that. All you really have to do is just give the players that opportunity to insert themselves in somewhere they've never been before. Let them do it. Even if they say, well, I want to play, just politely nod and be like, okay, you can roll initiative later, and if their character sucks, kill it. You can always make it look like an accident. That was a natural 17. I really rolled a natural 20. Anyway. A place of high adventure. I say it like that because growing up, Conan the Barbarian was the most often quoted movie that my gaming friends ever regurgitated. They would spit up that for hours. You would play that when they were drunk in their 20s. I have to say in their 20s because I don't want you to think that I hung out with a bunch of drunks in their teens. Anyway, they would wake up from a drunken stupor and start reciting the movie as it kept continuing. And by the way, that gets old real quick. All right. Scalable adventure. And it generally is very scalable. Now, for your players, not for you DM, but for your players, there's a lot of things to do in City of Brass. And you could literally just have it turn into a base of operations of sorts. You could let it be the keep up on their borderlands as they go out into the fire and the plains and the dunes and desolation and all that, and let them enjoy themselves. Maybe they've got a small citadel or keep to themselves. That's how it is. Another thing about characters, the plane of elemental fire is a resource full of magical research, just waiting to be touched. Let them deflower that. Let them enjoy themselves. Important thing about this: it's designed to be used with Swords and Wizardry and available free in PDF from Frog God Games. And that Swords and Wizardry rule set, that's a really good rule set. But you can use any like rule set with this. So you don't have to be a Swords and Wizardry guy to enjoy this book. I would not be a 5e player even today, but I would definitely play this in Swords and Wizardry. It's why I bought it. Alright, and we turn past the bullshit of page 9. Page 9 is where somebody who had no dog in the race wrote about how people's feelings matter. And really, people's feelings don't. Facts matter. Chapter 2, History of the City of Brass. Okay, so go look at your first edition back cover for your DMG. I don't need to really go into it much further than that. The plane of elemental fire, the City of Brass, has always been part of Dungeons and Dragons, and there's no other way for me to describe how much this book should inspire old grognards like myself to throw the book, to throw opportunity, to throw adventure at your players and allow them to either die in a heap, soggy mess, quickly cooked to a crisp, or to let them prosper and to let them develop into the super characters that they see themselves as. Now, granted, in Swords and Wizardry, thank God, it's not nearly as powerful as other D&D products. The magic level is a little bit toned down, and reasonably so. But I will tell you that the campaign that is within this covers, it's lower magic than most other games. All right. Of the crafting of the Mutawala Al-Jinn. And it talks about how the City of Brass has stood for eons, unknown to the world of humans, elves, and dwarves, and is created by the words of the gods as a home for their devoted genie servants. Now this is where it really goes into a little bit of Persian mythos, and you start seeing that start to come out. Now, we didn't get a whole lot of this in its original context in the box set, but I want to tell you that as a DM, you want to read up on this, and if you got the time, you want to study Persian mythology. Persian mythology is awesome. You have a lot of things in Persian mythology which have made it to modern D&D and tabletop gaming in general. Now, I don't want to go on my hatred for Islam, but Islam has tried to absorb a lot of things from Persian and the Middle Eastern mythology and stuff it to within the covers of its own book. But if you're versed in Islam, then you'll see what I'm talking about, but Islam does not predate Persian mythology. Persian mythology, greater than Islam. I know. I had to go there. So anyway, Solomon, he's a great engineer and architect of the gods, and he devised for his children and kin a great city, Mutawala Al-Jinn, for them to dwell within. He envisioned a homeland for all the free spirits who had helped the gods. Thus Solomon proposed his case on behalf of the servitor genies before the greater gods. And that kind of ties in pretty well with a lot of myth from Persian mythology. You want to get a little bit deeper in that. There's a few sources out there. The one that I recommend that everybody have available to them is 1001 Tales of the Arabian Nights. It goes into Jinn, it goes into the Divs, it goes into various other elementals, other Archon-like characters in that mythos. But if you have a good grasp of the Arabian Nights tales, then you're going to be able to help populate this world for your players and to help bring it to life to them. Alright, I'm going to probably wrap up. We're almost at minute 30 here. Oh, fuck it. I'll just keep it to myself. Now, I believe Sunday I'll be running the game for my regular game, my regular players, and I look forward to doing that. If you wish to join us, you can. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe if you find my content to be really good, and if you don't, well, that's okay too. There's a but for every seat, and remember that. In gaming, you might be the most important DM to your players for the moment, but if you have a table, treasure it. Your players will not always be there. Things will happen. Life will change. And priorities will arise. Your game, as much as we all love it, won't be available at all times for all the people that you want to play with them. well, excuse me, it won't be always available for the times that you want to play with those people. And lastly, when you're running a game, it's all right not to include your friends in your tabletop games. And I say that with a smile because we all love our friends. But in all honesty, your friends probably don't want to play tabletop RPGs with you. They might, they might want to do something like that. Pick one. And it's not an insult to you, but your friends like you for you, not for your game. However, it's all right to not be great friends with your players as a DM, but to try and do your best to deliver them a great game experience, because they're there for that. They're not really there to joke around or to trade memes, although that's fine. If your players enjoy doing that, let them do that. But you want to have hardcore players that want to play as bad as you want to run, and you want to give them that. One thing I messed up on for many years is that I had an opportunity of a mindset to arise where I would have a game where I thought in my head it was me against the players. And it's gotten a little bit better. Not much. I'm working on it. But I'm trying my best to just partake with them and give them the narrative and let them see where things go. They might still get killed, but it's not going to be like by my divine hand. So, anyway, I thought I'd let you know about that. This is the first of a series of reviews for the City of Brass. It's a new release from the company Frog God Games. Everybody go to the Frog God Games website, sign up for their notifications. They have deal of the days. They have grab bags available, or had grab bags available. And you wanted those because you got the opportunity to get some really good swag for a pretty low price. They would just throw shit in a bag, and it was good stuff. It was great adventures from the 3.0 and 3.5, and maybe some Pathfinder stuff, but they would throw in things that you would enjoy because you want to have things that probably not going to be available in print format much longer. And so if I were you, once you get done watching this, go check out Frog God Games. Go say hi to them. They've got a Discord server set up as part of Tinkar's Tavern, and I recommend you join that and be part of that community. There's a lot of good podcasters there. There's a lot of great other small press companies that are tied into all of that at Tinkar's Tavern. Plus, you have the Frog Pond, which is a gigantic section of the Discord server. It's all virtual ones and zeros, of course. But you have a lot of chat rooms. You have voice chats available. We do about 3 or 4 chats a week there. And some people even play on those Discord servers. So if you are feeding for a game, I hope I've helped steer you in the right direction. You guys have a great game, and I'll see you this weekend.